What actually is marriage? So we were having a conversation. Me and my wife were having a conversation with this other gentleman. And although there's a lot that I can cover, I'm going to cover as much of it as I possibly can. And since it wasn't a counseling session, the information can be spoken on. Plus, neither him nor his wife nor anybody else would actually ever hear this video that is connected to the person, because they don't follow any of my pages, nor are they on social media like that. So, and they wouldn't know I was talking about them anyway. All right, so we were having this conversation. It was impromptu. It wasn't intentional. But in the conversation, the gentleman was speaking about how he was in the doghouse, and it's appropriate that my neighbor's dog is barking, that he was in the doghouse with his wife. Now, I say wife, whereas many of you will not say wife, because they do not have the legal documentation that says that they are husband and wife. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact of why is she angry about the fact that they've been together for 16 years and yet they do not have any legal paperwork of husband and wife. Many of you already are stopped listening and you're going to start commenting right now, but hold on for a second. Let me give you a little bit more information about this situation. So their son is called Junior. Yet, you can look at this son and know that the father has nothing biological about this young man. So during the conversation, we come to realize that they've been together for 16 years. The young man, Junior, is 17 years old. So Junior is not his son. But he has raised Junior from the age at least 1 year old. So Junior is his son. He is the father of that young man. The biological, from our gathering of information, is not present in the young man's life, nor has he been present in the young man's life. So therefore, he is father. But yet there is no paperwork. And the wife has problems with that. In part of the discussion, I tried to explain to him that one of the reasons why she has problems with that, because in our Western cultural mindset, that paperwork gives a certain level of certainty, and it gives a certain level of security to have that paperwork. But what difference is that going to make? He did make the comment, what's going to change? And we made something. Nothing's going to change when you get that paperwork other than her feelings of security. That's what's going to change. Because let's look at the reality. The reality is this. For most situations, there is only one benefit that marriage paperwork from the state gives you, that you can get that same benefit from everywhere else. That you can get all the other benefits in other ways without having that contract. You can be more specific. Marriage from the state gives you the benefit of a catch-all, and the only other thing it gives you is Social Security benefits. So if something happened to him today, she knows that she will be able to collect his Social Security. Now, if he has a will will give her ownership of his 401k and any other types of property that is established within the will. They own a house. As long as her name is on the title of the house, doesn't have to be on a mortgage, but the title, she will have rights to the house, the land, the cars, everything else. Whatever you put in that will, they will have the rights to it. Other family members wouldn't be able to jump in and claim rights. They will have it. Now, it can be fought over, but as long as her name is on the title, she has rights to the property. A living will, a do not resuscitate, the will that states about his burial preferences, she will have all the rights and decision making according to that, as long as it's specified within a will. So there are other paperwork, powers of attorney. If he is sick, she can have a power of attorney over what to do as far as surgeries or anything like that if he's incapacitated. So there's not much that you can't cover with other documentation that doesn't require a marriage certificate. But because we've grown up in these Western cultures, and because people have religious preferences, most people believe that in order to be married under whatever God a person believes in, that you have to have a marriage certificate. In America, prior to the income tax there was no such thing. There was a such thing as a marriage certificate, but most people didn't get a marriage certificate. You can go to my grandmother's old church in Carrollton, Georgia, and they have the big book, the Bible, that lists everybody who's ever gotten married in that church. And when you look beyond the 1920s, you see that those people hardly ever got a marriage certificate because there was no other federal benefits to having it. So they were married, right? Because there was no such thing because there was no need to. Most people didn't do it. There was, it did cover it. The marriage certificate is a catch-all, but there was no reason, is what I'm saying, to go and pay that extra money. So many people before the 1920s didn't get marriage certificates, but because of religious belief and how people are today and the society that we've been living in for the last 100 years, people just look at the catch-all and connect that to their religious belief, whether they are Christian, whether they're Muslims, but they lived in America, they connect it. But it's truly not connected, because within any of those books, you do not see anything that says that. Now, you can extrapolate that because it says, like in the Bible, it says that if you're born in under a certain ruler, certain leadership, basically a certain government, then you are to be responsible for the laws of that government. Well, there's no law that says you have to get married. It's just certain benefits. Social Security being the only one that marriage guarantees. But we've made it a part of our thinking, is a part of the doctrine now. It's not a part of the book, but a part of the doctrine. And when you go to other countries, some of those other countries, they have different rules. So they don't think the same way that people think in America. So their marriage certificates or marriage is different. And then countries and even states have the choice of whether to accept it. Like Texas doesn't have to accept a Georgia certificate of marriage, but Texas does it so that Georgia will accept a Texas certificate. But they don't have to. There's nothing legal that says they have to. Now, for people like me, which is in a smaller percentage, the state marriage certificate gets other benefits that there's no other paperwork that could help. Like, I'm a veteran. So for my wife to get medical coverage under the VA, we have to have that certificate. In order for her to get educational benefits, she has to have that. We have to have that certificate. In order for her to take advantage of things on base, she has to have that certificate. In order to take advantage of military flights, she has to have that certificate. So my situation is a little bit different because her having the medical coverage and the educational benefits is important to me. I don't have any problems getting that. But if I wasn't a veteran, I wouldn't care. And when I work with couples who are polygamous, knowing that getting marriage certificate for each wife or each husband is illegal, we go through the process of getting all the other paperwork done. So my question then comes back to, what is marriage? Marriage is the commitment that two people have between one another. It has absolutely nothing to do with the state. Marriage is the decision that you make every day to show each other the respect, the love towards one another on a daily basis. Marriage is the idea that we're going to strive through this world together as a unit every day, that we're going to build our family, and that we are a family because we decide every day that we are a family, and then we emotionalize that decision, which becomes our love for one another every day. That is what marriage is. Marriage has absolutely nothing to do with paperwork. All the paperwork is centered around financial decisions, centered around health decisions. You can cover someone with your health insurance as long as they live in the same house as you do without any certificates. You can put anybody's name on your life insurance policy. You can put anybody's name within your will. So marriage, it has nothing to do with paperwork. And if you think otherwise, then are you truly in the marriage for the building and the commitment and the love, or are you in it for the money? Now, that's just one subject matter that we talked about. There are plenty others, and in subsequent videos I'll talk about those things as well, because a lot of the things we talked about, I believe, will help many people, especially my dudes, because I got to work with this brother. Even though I'm not going to take him as a client, I got to work with this brother. But always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey. good vibrations.